Test, test, test. All right. I think we're live. Yeah, so that was, I think something's changed since the last time I did this. This is why you should not take too long a break from anything, especially digital computer stuff, because things change dramatically quite quickly. All right, some people are already jumping in. All right, my bad, because I thought I had to still click another button. Apparently not. All buttons are clicked. Can I get an audio check from somebody? Lots of highs. Hello. Hi, Natish. Hi, Abdullah. Naim. I don't know how to say that. Hi there. Dragon Slayer 898. First like. LOL. By the way, adios. Oh, you're out here? It was like hi bye, I think. Uh, David Dude, good to have you. Mome Mods, hey, how you doing? Tornika Gabunia, I don't know how to say that. Second, good job. Way to be here. All right, audio's good. Sweet. I was hoping I wasn't doing these shout outs if nobody's getting them. Um, Damn Damien, Audio Pog. Audio POG, is that a acronym for something? Let's see. All right, so hey, so today's drawing session, I just want to do some sketching here, but you guys are welcome to let me know what you want to see, and we can play around with some different ideas. I just like to, kind of doodle here and then see what happens. But this is an AMA, so you're welcome to ask whatever you want. So yeah. So what's been going on lately? Try to give you an update of things I've been doing and working on as we go here, just so there's some filler. I've been working on a few fan art pieces. I got to do some page work for uh, a a client that's working with some Dracula product, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'll show that as soon as I can, and I'll link to their work. And yeah, so it's cool to actually be working on some page stuff. I haven't done that in a while, aside from the Blackstone comic. But I'll tell you, like it being my own comic, I really find excuses why not to work on it. It's really sad, and I gotta fight that. I gotta get away from that. But when it's a page for a client, you got to get it done, right? There's no making excuses, which is nice because, yeah, when you're totally self-employed, it does kind of backfire at times. Imagine that. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Sometimes it's good to have somebody over there, with a deadline looming over your noggin. All right, so just trying to read through some of these. Oh, Savage Dragon, that'd be kind of fun. I haven't drawn that character in a long time. Uh, Alfred Reed says, greetings from Dublin, Ireland. Enjoy your tutorial on amazing artwork. Thank you very much for that. I truly appreciate that. And then Damn Damien says, question, how do you get back into drawing after not doing it for a long time? I guess baby steps like anything else. A big thing, I've been dealing with something lately. Let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it better. I've been dealing with something lately, and it is, it's getting, all right, there's times where we try to think through everything, right? What is that, your analytical brain, something like that? You try to think through everything. You try to analyze and break down everything. And that can be great for education at times. But there's other times you have to quit thinking and you just have to do. And I would say that applies to even getting back into art. Definitely applies to what I've been battling lately, and that is an unenthused kind of moment in my artistic career where I'm just kind of blah. Well, if I sit around and I think about that too much, it just gets unbearable. Like it gets worse. But if I start doing versus thinking, just pick up with the pen and start drawing, and whatever comes out, and just keep on moving forward. And that applies to a lot of things in life, especially for me. If I stay inside my head too much, I go into a rut. But if I start acting, putting some action to it, and think less about it at times, not always. Sometimes it's good to really think about every little aspect, but you have to be aware if it's hindering you in any sort of way. And yeah, I definitely have been feeling that lately. So it's like, just shut up and do it, you know? And again, that's why I thought it was cool to get like some client work where they put me on a page and had me pencil and ink this page for them. It was nice because when you work through a script, you know, you can't just deviate because you want to deviate. You have to make that sucker work and to their liking, to, you know, best of your ability. And that just teaches you a lot. Nothing, I don't think anything teaches you more than working through pages of a script, you know, and trying to come up with something that matches that narrative. Um, you know, because they throw anything at you, right? It's like you're sitting there and you're wanting to draw Superman or Batman, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm off the page there, sorry. And they're like, nope, you got to draw this scene and you got to put it in such a way at this camera angle or whatever. And usually they don't always tell you camera angles and stuff like that, but you know, they give you this information and you got to make it all work and function. And that's tricky to do, and it teaches you a lot. And I didn't do any structure for this face, and this is always this can come back to bite you because it's disproportionate by a lot. But I kind of like doing it like this at times because the characters look more um, creative, I guess, but a little more distorted. I typically get a little more distortion. So I'm just working on a face here. I kind of like the Savage Dragon idea. Maybe we could do that. I haven't drawn that character. I could probably turn this into Savage Dragon, couldn't I? Waste not, want not. We should probably recycle the work here. What do you guys think? Savage Dragon? Are you cool with that? And again, you guys can ask any questions. Let me see if I'm... Samuel Jones wants a shout out. I'm sorry, Samuel Jones. I'm not doing any shout outs today. So I'm not going to say your name, Samuel Jones, and then therefore give you a shout out. Free of charge. That would be ridiculous, Samuel Jones. So can't do it. I'm sorry, Samuel Jones. All right, so what else we got here? Bro, how there only 3 likes? What? 3 likes? Really, people? That's all I get for all my hard work and effort. That's it. Closing down the YouTube channel. I wanted at least 7 likes. Josh Draw says hi. Hello. Giovanni Gonzalez. Sorry, that should be easy to say. My bad. Hello. How are you? Samuel says, hey, how do you concentrate? Ooh, lots of coffee. I don't know. Another thing I struggle with. I'm kind of flighty. You know, I'm sure if anybody's watched this channel for any length of time, you're kind of aware of that. But yeah, I try to concentrate. I've been trying to read some books and reading one for comics, for comic panels and stuff like that. And it's, I guess, reading. You know, reading's like a mental exercise for me. I'm more of a visual guy. I like books with pop-ups and stuff like that. But so yeah, that's how I try to concentrate. And I think I concentrate as I'm, drawing things, but it's definitely a different side of the brain. I think it's a different side of the brain. Maybe it's not. It's a different process for me. Thinking visually, not grouping words into paragraphs and trying to discern what that paragraph means. It's always been tricky for me. Reading's not like my strong suit. Like, I remember the most terrifying thing was when the teacher was like, you got to get up and read in front of the class. I'm like, no, could I just draw a picture or something? Don't make me do this. But I did it, and I was okay at it. It wasn't as bad as some of the kids. So I guess it's always nice to compare yourself with the people that aren't as good, right? That's horrible. Anyways, hi, I'm a digital artist, says Art with Xiaomi. Oh, thanks, David. Says this sketch already looks good to me. I appreciate that. Yeah, you see, I didn't even do any structure on this one, so I kind of wanted to do that. I practice both ways, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today too, is that sometimes I use more structure. I definitely go to structure when I can't figure something out. So I'll start really trying to add in more structure lines, more base information, and also it helps with symmetry and things like that. And I would say consistency as well, with the drawing a certain character. But then again, oh, that's a really lopsided head, isn't it? I'll fix it. But then again, drawing consistency with a certain character really boils down to just drawing that character over and over again at all these different angles. And then I think eventually you kind of find what's consistently good enough. But yeah, let's see. How do you draw the lower leg? I don't know if I'll get to the lower leg. We'll see, but if I can address that. I'll give you a quick one. Here we go. Lower leg, knee, inside leg, outside leg's more of a curve. My camera here. Inside bend, a little diamond shape right there for the calf. What? Inside ankle's higher, outside ankle's lower. Foot, toes. Oh, that's one too many. I did that on purpose, by the way. Yeah. So there's a lower leg, something like that. And this muscle right here actually goes from the outside of the knee to the inside of the ankle like that. But you never really draw it like that. It's just good to think about it like that, and then just draw. What's really kind of notice this bulk of the form on the front of the leg more like that a lot of times. I think it depends on how they're pressing off the foot. But anyways, that's a lower leg. It almost looks like more of a Fred Flintstone version, but hopefully that helps you out. Now back to the Savage Dragon head. Okay, so eye placement. This is tricky because, oh, let me read real quick. I always have to stay up late to draw. I find myself the most creative at that time. Yeah, I've been getting sleepy at night. I don't know what's going on. Need to up my game in the workout regimen, but yeah, I'm having to do the opposite now. Like get up early and draw. Can't pull them late nighters anymore. So weird. I guess that's part of aging. But Finch recommends drawing from George Bridgman, but recommends not reading his tutorials. But then other artists recommend reading Bridgman's tutorials. What should I do? Well, I would definitely do whatever Finch says. The guy is very, very knowledgeable and time tested. Obviously, he's got quite a list, quite a resume, right? So you can trust, his knowledge based upon what he's achieved. And I agree to a point. I don't know that. I definitely agree with following Bridgman's work. He told me the same thing, and I started drawing from it, and all of a sudden it clicked. At first, when I started studying Bridgman, it didn't click. So I have to give credit to David Finch for that, and also credit to Proco because he has a video on interpreting Bridgman, and it totally clicked because for me, I was trying to draw Bridgman exactly the way the illustrations were, and he said no. In his video, he mentioned you have to interpret Bridgman. They're meant for interpretation drawings, so you recreate it with what you interpret the structure and information to be, something to that extent, and it makes more sense. Like I think you start to do better with it when you do that. Let me give him the big old fin here. So yeah, so I don't know about not reading his tutorials. I don't know about that. I guess I tend to read whatever I'm working on, but I am very visual about it. I just draw. I spend more time drawing the the information that's in there. Is that? I don't think that fin's right, is it? Like for instance, Bern Hogarth, and a lot of comic artists actually don't like to point people to Bern Hogarth, which I think is strange. I like it, but I do get it where Bridgman is easier to interpret in a lot of ways because he's more. He uses more angular structures and breakdowns that I think translate better to comic art. But I still love Bern Hogarth's books. I get the whole set there, but I'll tell you what, I find him harder to read from. He's very intellectual. I don't know. He's very like his verbiage in those books are like, I don't know. I guess they're hard for my wee little brain to wrap around, but I do my best. But it's I definitely learn a lot from him visually. So I think I've probably drawn all those images once or twice through his books. Maybe not, but I like to think I have. But yeah, I love his visual representations of those characters, especially like his work on Tarzan stuff. Just amazing stuff. Where does that fin stop? Does it go back here? I don't think it does. Man, it's been a while since I've drawn this character. I'm really at a loss here. I might have to pull some reference. Something like that. Something's not right, is it? Maybe this one has to come forward more? I don't know. Doesn't look very savage though. He looks kind of depressed, doesn't he? Okay, let's see. Coffee or tea? What do you think the right decision is? I'd definitely have to go with coffee. I mean, health reasons, tea all day long, green tea. Uh, is that what I grab and go for? No, coffee. I like to sweeten it up. Actually, you know what I've been doing here? A quick health tip for you guys. If you like dumping all that creamer and sugar into your coffee, take a pure protein shake, half coffee, half pure protein. They got less than 1 gram of sugar. Bam, Viola. Now you are getting a healthy start to your day. You're getting that caffeine burst that you need and also some protein. You're welcome. Can't wait to see you brag about your muscles. Okay, so Finch says reading Bridgman is going down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just like, I think what he applies a lot to is, that you don't have to attain as much of the actual, like, you don't have to read it all and know it all. Like, he talks about that with anatomy, which I think is smart. Like, you don't have to know every terminology and every landmark of every bony structure and all. I mean, you can, and if that stuff excites you and you're into it, then cool, go for it. I don't think it's ever a bad thing, but it's not a necessity. He doesn't want to confuse people and say that you have to learn this, you have to learn that. He does it more in with an artist's brain and a visual representation. So I think that's why he says some. I don't know. I can't presume to know what he means, but I try to read the stuff when I can. But at the end of the day, I'm just a guy that draws pictures, so I'm just going to look at the pictures and probably gain more from that than trying to understand every explanation. Wow, that fin is horrible. What is going on here? Is it the perspective, maybe? It's getting worse, isn't it? Let's do this. Let me pull up a picture on my phone. Give me a second here, folks. I gotta cheat. Okay. Now I got some reference. Should come out better. Make the fin go closer and lower to the head. Yeah, good call. And that's what I'm noticing on this. I pulled up just an epic cover. I should be collecting this book. I'm such a bad comic artist. Bad person. Because Eric Larson, man, has just been just a saint, right? Didn't he never miss an episode? Like, it's been going nonstop. One of the only and longest running independent books, right? Him and Spawn. Isn't it something like that? But the dude is just a machine. Like, he just always delivered, and yeah, just a cool character. I should be collecting the book, and as I express my guilt, I will be shopping. I will get back on this title. Still going, right, folks? Yeah, it needs to come way closer to the back of the head, I think. Like this. And I'll tell you what, my ability to draw fins are sorely lacking. I've been exposed. No. All right. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Icon. Says you're my biggest inspiration to draw. And you're also my favorite artist. Wow, that's saying a lot. Thank you so much. I'm not worthy. That's fantastic of you to say. Nerd Hollow says, like the name by the way, I do like that McFarlane is expanding Spawn. I've been wanting to jump in recently, and this seems like a good jumping in point. Yeah, man, the guy is just a phenomenon, you know, in the comics and entertainment world. I just my son just recently got into some Five Nights at Freddy stuff, and so I'm out there, you know, getting him toys for his birthday, and sure enough, what are they? They're McFarlane toys, and I'm just like, wow, man, this guy is just he's just really done it all, you know. It's like Spawn movie, the you know, I want to say he has the oh, maybe he doesn't have the highest selling comic. I think that title goes to, or that trophy, whatever you want to call it, accolade goes to Jim Lee, right? The X-Men #1 books. Isn't that the most sold? But I want to say that maybe it's the longest running independent, which I would think it would be between him and Savage Dragon, between Eric Larson. But he's just done it all, you know, and the fact that he's been successful in so many different fields of entertainment and you know, the stuff we love, you know, comics and animated movies and you name it. It's just amazing. Yeah, just somebody to always look up to, and you know, never. I always want to tell people like we should never compare ourselves to that, because that's like the, you know, it's like comparing yourself to Michael Jordan on the ball court, right? But at the same time, it's neat to see it and aspire to greater things. So yeah. All right, so let's get some of the body in here. I think the fin still needs a little work, but hey, oh, distorting them. Hold on. And forgive me if this looks a little strange. I actually tried to crop out my screen on OBS here, where you just see more of the screen and not so much of the controls. But it does backfire a little bit, because then I have to be careful that I'm not off screen. All right, let me get my reference back up. And for those of you wondering, I'm using Procreate today. Probably, I'm sure you probably already know, but Al Padrino, are you planning on doing another portfolio review? Yeah, I'm trying to get back into the live streaming and getting this all set up. That's kind of why I wanted to jump in today, because I do want to do some more of that stuff. I want to do some more um, portfolio reviews. I want to get on a regular live schemes live scheme, a live scheme. Ooh, that sounds interesting. A live stream schedule, and then I got a dislike. Damn you, Damien. I mean, I don't think it was you, but that's your name. Damn, Damien. I can't believe it, man. It's like, what? It must be my voice. Is it too? It's too nasally, isn't it? You got too nasally of a voice, so people just show up and click dislike. Man, people, it's like free. I mean, it's like that's like you know what it's like? It's like going to the grocery store and they give you that free little thing of cheese and maybe the sausage, and you eat it and you go, mmm, and then you smack the tray right out of their hand. Okay, that's what those dislikes are like. They hurt, people. They really hurt. And now because of it, my drawing's gonna suffer. I mean, if I'm gonna get a dislike anyways, I might as well not try that hard. I'm just kidding. All right. Oh, you guys can't even see what I drew. That's his arm. I've been slacking on my anatomy. Yeah, brother. All right. Sorry. My attempt at humor. Um, thanks, Jeff Burns. He's like, here, I'll give you a like so you don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm not really worried. I'm just playing. You gotta laugh, it's not to cry. No, I don't care. It's just kind of mean. Like, I wouldn't do that to you. Come over your page and click dislike. Wouldn't go to your job and knock the french fries out of your hand. You know what I'm saying? Kidding. James Largus says, my voice sounds like a cat in a blender. Yeah, not cool, man. I'm a cat fan. But that is funny. You know, we do have a sick sense of humor on this channel, apparently. Okay, so yeah, it's a boring pose, but I can't think of much. He's got these big old guns, but then what's he doing? He's just standing there. I made it too boring, didn't I? But it did just start with a floating head there. What's he normally wear? Like a collared shirt, right? I could just I could cheap out and do a tank top. Make my life a whole lot easier. Doesn't he sport a tank top quite a while? Quite a while. Quite a lot. How to get away with making mistakes? You just make them and try to fix them. That's all you can do. That's a daily routine. Make a you know, I think a good thing about a mistake is it shows you what not to do. The hard thing is when you keep making the same mistake. Those repetitive, redundant things. You know you're gonna do it. You already know it before you put the line down. That's the stuff you got to break out of there. A true mistake, a new mistake, is a good thing because then you're like, oh, I tried it, it didn't work. Think about inventors and engineers. You know, they take really good advantage of mistakes. But you have to look at it in the right way, or yeah, you'll start to really beat yourself up, and you can't do that. Um, and you do have to make time to try new things because if not, you'll just stick with the same style, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like if you're just trying to get faster, I would say pull back on experimentation, unless your experimentation is just how to simplify your work. I find the need to do that a lot of times so that I'm not constantly trying to, pack this detail into every single shot that I draw for the sake of, trying to impress everybody or something. Like there's times when you just need to draw something clean and well, and then there's other times when it makes sense to pack it full of like rendering and cross hatching and all that fun stuff. I'm getting ready to do one a scarecrow, and I haven't drawn that character probably ever, really, to tell you the truth. I already did a practice one of them, and I'm thinking, man, that's going to be a really fun character to like over detail and render and make look super eerie and creepy. And I think that's what a lot of rendering does. It can really bring out that eerie vibe in the work. So yeah, I'll be sharing that pretty soon. Oh, and I did one of WandaVision, Wanda and Vision. I've been watching that WandaVision show, and I'll probably share a time lapse of that with some narration or maybe just some music. So let me know if you guys want to see that. Yeah, Ghost Rider would be another good one. I really liked McFarlane's take on Ghost Rider back in the day. That Ghost Rider Spider-Man team up they did. Amazing, amazing style on the way he did that, and I think same thing. Not lots of cool rendering and effects to that, which I think really he did well. Thanks, cool it, Mr. Heat, for supporting the Skillshare classes and getting a copy of the book. Or I'm sorry, you said you got Loomis's book, even better. But yeah, thanks for the support, and yeah, I'm sure you'll love that book by Loomis. He's an amazing, amazing teacher. I shouldn't have waited so many years to start paying attention to his instruction because it's phenomenal stuff. It's so weird. Like I think that you just grab certain books that you think, you look at them on the shelf and you're like, oh, this one resonates with me more. And I skipped over his for a while, and then I finally picked him up, based upon watching other YouTubers talk about the Andrew Loomis method and stuff like that for drawing heads. Started there, and then once I read it, I'm like, goodness, why did I wait so long to get this book? So now I'm like to the point where I'm just grabbing books and putting them on the shelf. If it looks good, I'll get around to reading it, hopefully, because I'm in like that fear state of missing good information. And there's so much online now. It's like I'm just watching so much video content. Yeah, hi Lance, good to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you popping in on your lunch break or on lunch. And I don't know about color and shade it in this live stream. I mean, I guess if I stopped this part, I could start inking it, and I could drop in some quick color and shading. Like I'll tell you one thing, I like to do is like even before I ink, I like to do this here. Just take, I'm sure you guys have seen me do this plenty of times, but actually you won't like this at full opacity. And I like to just shade like this, turn the layer opacity down. Yeah, I love doing this. Something about this is so helpful for me in figuring out my shadows. It's so weird. Like you think I would just be able to draw my shadows in and not even worry about something like this, but I've looked at my art when I do it this way and when I don't, and it's usually noticeably better when I take the time to do this first. And it's like certain things I have to really try harder at. It would be shadows and clothing, wrinkles and folds. Like I've been trying to study those more lately. Uh, Actually doing a lot of little renditions of them and practice sketches. And yeah, it is a tricky subject. Area of the work. I would say I even think shadows are easier than just the wrinkles and folds. I've noticed that on certain pieces, I actually just emulate a perceived style for wrinkles and folds. But if I go to draw them realistically, it's totally different. Like I'm basically just using my own version, to get through the illustration. Um, yeah, it's so weird, but it's way faster if I do that. But if I try to draw them realistically and actually look at reference, yeah, I realize there's a lot of inconsistencies from the way that I draw them in comics to the way that they actually look. But I think that happens with a lot of things. It's just probably a little bit more apparent with wrinkles and folds to my eye. I'm sure the way I draw hair, just isn't as consistent and things like that. It's just, yeah, that's what comics is, right? Just developing your own way of doing things and being creative with it. It's called style. Yeah, Anthony Gee says, same here. I just need to sit down and draw clothing and folds for like a week straight. Otherwise, I'm never going to get it down. Yeah, and it's straight up that. Like I do that quite a bit. I'll go on stints or whatever where I just draw something over and over and over again and to where it just bores the death out of me. But I learn that way, and I know that through that boredom, once I get past it, I'll be better at it. Hopefully, and usually that's the way it works. But it's yeah, I think it takes that like grit about your work ethic and drawing stuff where you have to draw it over and over again and be okay with that. Um, and I shouldn't say you have to. You don't have to do anything. You just draw what you love to draw, and over time it'll just kind of work itself out, I guess. But I, I think I get more frustrated with the fact that I know I can't draw a certain thing. Like I just had to draw an Iron Maiden, the torture chamber Iron Maiden, and it was harder than it should have been for me. I just, and I'll eventually show the page and the work and stuff like that. Um, but it was a lot harder for me than I thought it should have been, and it's because I don't spend enough time drawing the basic shapes that I need to. Um, breaking things down that are like household objects around you. Not like you got Iron Maiden chilling in the basement or nothing, but the shapes that it's comprised of are a lot more resemblant of just regular household things like lamps and tables and whatever. It's drawing those regular things so that when you go to draw something that is like that, you've got some basis of information to work from. But if you're just sitting around drawing superheroes all the time, then all of a sudden somebody asks you to draw a car, and you're like, what? No, I can't do that. So yeah, you got to be careful of that, and that's where I think those studies are so important. Just make the time to draw something that you avoid, or that you're not as good at. And if you had to tell a story, you'd have to jump in and draw that stuff. So yeah, it's good to make time for that. Which is why fan art is probably not always the best thing, unless you're really challenging yourself with like some detailed fan art, group shots, lots of information. Then maybe you're okay there. All right, let me read through a couple of these. Oh, Icon, is there any way to support you because I can't donate in my region? That's very nice of you. You don't got to do that. I really appreciate you saying that. Um, no, no worries. I mean, if you can't, you can't. And it's not, a lot of times for me, what allows me to do all this, just so everybody knows, and I'll just plug real quick, it's the Skillshare, the Udemy classes, and then I've got some courses on my own site. That's it, my Gumroad. That stuff pays for me to sit here with you, do this, and not really worry. So the fact that if it's a struggle for you to help out, don't worry about it. There's enough people doing their part and helping out and supporting what I do that I'm all good, and I really appreciate the fact that you even asked that. So thanks so much. Yeah, it's all good. Thanks, Morkai. I can't say that. Robert teaches you how to draw the torso, abs, and what you use to draw the human body. Thanks for that. Nerd Hollow. The other day I found drawing more simple art was more difficult than I was thinking, and it benefited me all around. I started drawing scenes of Teen Titans Go. Yeah, so like lately, I can totally relate with that. Lately, I've been on a kick of watching all the animated stuff. I got that like HBO or Max or whatever, and all those animated shows are on there for like Justice League, Teen Titan, Superman, Batman, and I've been really just devouring that stuff, and I really think it helps. Like even to the point where there was a couple I had already watched, I turned the volume down, and I just if the story was too redundant, I want to hear it again. Some of them I'll listen to again because the story's that good. But I'll even turn them down and just casually glance over as I'm taking breaks from my art. And it's cool because you're getting to see a relatable style. It's a little bit lighter as far as detail goes, which is great. I think it helps you to focus on composition a little more. And then it's just some of those art styles for those animations are just so well done. But you're getting to see the action and the orientation of the scene, the composition of the scene, different settings. I don't know. For me, I think it's excellent food for thought. And if you can't, sit there and pick up your comic books as much, because you can kind of let that run while you're drawing, and it's a little bit of a kind of a burst and food for thought, kicking the imagination, I think. Because I constantly struggle with that. Like, what do I do? Do I play more games to get like more of this information in my head? Do I just draw the world around me and things like that? I don't know. I like those animated series a lot for ideas. They seem to be helping me a lot. And then also, it's nice because it allows you to see those characters drawn in a little bit more of a simple way, but it shows you how well simple works. Um, so I like that about it. Like there's some of those art styles, and I can't remember which titles at the moment, because some of them I don't like as much, but there's a few that are done so well that I'm like looking and pausing the scenes and looking the way they drew Batman or the different characters, and I'm like, wow, that really works. That's a really good look, and it doesn't have all the rendering. And then obviously with our art styles, we can pile on the rendering and stuff like that. So I think sometimes you just got to focus on the simple areas of what's working, and then yeah, you can put all the fancy rendering on the top of that. Okay, I think I could probably just ink that. It's not very detailed, but we could, we could add some little cross hatching and stuff in there as we go. Where we at time wise? All right. Yeah, so I'll probably just start inking on this. You guys good with that? Oh, Mario, hi from Brazil. Nice. Good to have you. Yeah, true. He does look pretty sad, doesn't he? What can I change that with? Maybe I'll just change the scowl. Let's try that. You're right, though. It looks really doesn't look savage. That's for sure. Can do a lot with eyebrows, people. Let's see if we can fix it. Oh, oh, I'm just realizing I drew this all with my ink pen. Let's bring that way down. Look a little bit of a smirk. It's weird how it looks different when you move the mouth around. Okay. I don't know if I like the smirk. We'll see. Yeah, so icon, yeah, sometimes I'll do that, blur the inks. I do like the effect. I do that more in the finish work. But I see what you're saying. That little bit of a blur helps out. Steve Antos says, "Hey Rob, I'm also an artist from Michigan. I really admire you and your work. Keep it up. Looks awesome. Thanks so much, Steve. Very nice of you to say." And Al Padrino, hello from Bolivia. Wow. Rob, South America represent. Nice. Good to have you. All right. All right, Chris Lavoy. Hey Rob, with everything erasable in Procreate, do you still like to use a pencil before inks? I do. Like, I actually like using, I just inked here, but I like using my sketch pencil, my technical pencil, which gives me a nice resemblance of a true pencil line. But it's, it does seem a little bit redundant, or uh, not, why would you need to, right? You can just go to inks and you keep cleaning up your inks. So there's times I do both. I think that what happens is, if I'm really confident in the idea, I grab the ink pen and just start going for it. But yeah, you can definitely just keep refinishing it. So like, for instance, here at this stage, I'm going to add the blue line or whatever color, turn that to screen mode, and then I'm just going to ink over this. But yeah, there's times I think it's a comfort thing, and I think that it's part of me getting to a point where I'm not so worried about the end result. Like, you get better at working through it, and then yeah, I think inking quicker helps you with that. What are some of your favorite old school inkers? Oh wow, Scott Williams, obviously, Danny Mickey. Um, who else? Man, that's tough. I'm trying to remember more of them. Mickey Williams. There's another guy that inked over like Finch a lot back in the day. That his work was so technical. I mean, I don't think anybody's more technical than Scott Williams, but it was. I just remember he had all these cool. You know what? He inked over Benitez a lot. Who was that? You guys know? Like, I'm asking you. You guys are asking me now. I'm asking you. It was somebody that inked over Benitez a lot, and also yeah, no, Jimmy's cool too. I don't call Jimmy old school though. He's more new school, wouldn't you say? Somebody mentioned Jimmy Reyes because he's on YouTube all the time showing his techniques today. You're right, he has inked over Finch, but I'm talking about back in the day. It seemed like he inked over Finch, Benitez, and nope, not Terry Austin. Another fantastic inker. Um, I think he's got more of a clean style. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pull it up. Well, I can't believe I'm brain farting on that, but um, he was one of my favorites. I just can't think of his name. I think that what happened is I don't see their work as much, right? Didn't a few of them like even pulled out of the game? I think because Danny Mickey still doing it? Yeah, no, McFarlane's inks are fantastic. I remember when I first realized and saw him ink over Blue Line, and I was just stunned. Like there wasn't a whole lot on the page. He was going to ink, obviously on his own work pretty quickly, and that was always super inspiring. Like no wonder the dude's so fast because he was always knocking out books and covers and things. One of the things I really like about McFarlane's inks is they're so loose and energetic. Like he doesn't do a lot of cross hatching. He's not very tight with it. Uh, Lots and lots of energy though. Well, and lots of hatching, but not. When I say cross hatching, I mean like he doesn't cross hatch like a lot of like a Scott Williams, Jim Lee style. Lots of cool cross hatching patterns. Uh, it seemed like McFarlane's stuff was more like just random textures and lots of tiny little lines versus lots of cross hatching. I don't know. But I always liked how it didn't feel so rigid by the end of it. Did you hear about Scott Harris? No, what about Scott Harris? Icon? He's a fellow teacher, right? Instructor? Kevin Nolan is my favorite inker artist. You know what? Finch recommends him a lot, I think. Yeah, Bernie Wrightson, another one. Actually, I just got through studying. I need to pick up some of the art books by Bernie Wrightson. I just got through studying some of his work, and man, amazing, amazing stuff. That dude's on a whole nother level of when it comes to light and shadow. Yeah, well, like I was trying to do some effects like Bernie Wrightson, admit I was failing miserably, but I was actually blocking in the ink blot, whatever, filling in the area first, and then just using these brushes to come back and erase. Because I mean that's how dark and deep his hatching is in some areas, and it's a really nice way to throw that dark, gritty, atmospheric vibe into the work. Comics Legend, hello. Which titles have you worked on? Which comics and what titles? I haven't done as much as I should have. I've done my own stuff. I've worked in the independent sector a lot. Arrow and Assault. I did some short stories and cover work for Flint Comics. But Arrow and Assault were the two. Well, I did 4 books for them, but 2 were uh, the ones that weren't featured in Diamond way back in the day. I was out of it for a while. I've done lots of short stories, book covers, lots of album covers because I went through a stint where I was doing design work more than I was doing comic work, and I would get like I did an album cover back in the day for like MC Breed, and so I was doing like a lot of design and illustration works like that. And then now, as of late, I've just done more, um, again, back to my own stuff and teaching. But then I also just did a page the other day for a Dracula book. By it's affiliated and I want to say it's just under the Bram Stoker Dracula label. So, I'll release more on that as I know more. But yeah, I haven't done like, like big titles like, as far as like X-Men or something like that or Avenger, none of that kind of stuff, unfortunately. And I really kind of blame it on the fact that I deviated. I got worried about the comics industry after I got nationally published with Arrow and Assault, and it seemed like it kind of got out there and I was doing shows and everything like that. I got worried. I thought, wow, I got this big break. It went national. Books are selling all over through Diamond Distribution, and it didn't make me a bunch of money. And it's really sad that I let that affect me, but I did. I was like, oh, well, maybe this is a dying market, and I want to be on the forefront of something. I want to be doing something that's growing, not, uh, losing traction or whatever. In hindsight, that was a really bad way to go. I wish I wouldn't have did that, but I did what I did. It's like it is what it is. But then I came back to it because I started my own business, did all this other stuff, and then I was like, you know what? I got to get back into doing what I love to do, and that's drawing comics. And shut down the business and started pursuing the YouTube channel more, and figured out how to make online courses and all that other stuff. And yeah, that's what got me back into this. So now I draw more as a fan artist, I guess, um, but I need to get my own books out there, stuff like that, and yeah, I want to get back into drawing stories because as much as I love doing fan art, I mean, I'll be honest, I absolutely love drawing fan art. It's like a kid in a candy store when I'm sitting there drawing this stuff, but it's not, it's not all I should be doing. I got to tell stories with my work. I got to work on sequentials, either for my own book or somebody else's. But I think it's very, 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 very important that we do that. Like I just think that much that you're going to learn and express by telling stories, and that's what comics are, and that's what keeps them alive is telling these great stories that others can take and run with for everything from gaming to movies to you name it. It all starts as a storyboard, right? And it all starts as a comic. So, I want to be part of it. I want to tell more stories. So I feel like I practice drawing this stuff to get better. But then if I don't implement it as storytelling, then I'm not really exploring every possibility. I'm not really challenging myself to grow to that next level. And by the way, eyebrows are hard. I think I really do. Okay. Yeah, I'm really interested in your Dracula book. Please release more info on that as soon as possible. I certainly will. Like, um, I'm pretty honored that they even asked me to draw a page or two from that, and I'm not exactly sure of all the details, so I don't want to divulge any more than that. But at the same time, yeah, it completely was honored. Like I just thought, like almost like a who me moment. Like who me? You want me to do it? Like I'm not some big name guy. I'm trying to develop that name. I'm trying to put more product out there, but it's just really cool. It's just and it's why I always want to tell everybody on the channel here. You know the way you get these opportunities is you just keep creating and you create, and somebody is gonna notice. Especially if you're sharing it, you're asking for feedback, you got an open mind, you're gonna get something's gonna click. You're gonna find a path, and people will offer you opportunity because they see that you're just working really hard. So I'm very fortunate that's also why I try to share that with you guys and say, look, it's not like I didn't go to school for this stuff. I didn't know the right people. Really, it's just a matter of, we're very lucky that our art has an effect, right? It carries um, it gets people emotional. I don't want to say, like it sells itself. Like you make the stuff and you show it to people, and they either like it or they don't. They either click dislike or like on the damn thing. So you just make more. Kind of works out, and I know that's some people hate that answer. Like I've said that before, and people have, like I can tell they kind of get mad a little bit. Like, really, that's not an answer. That's like wishing on a star kind of thing. Um, but I think that's just really the way it works because, like I said, the art itself, it keeps working for you. Like when you create something, um, it can keep getting shared. People can keep liking it. It can kind of fall out of circulation for a minute. Somebody else can pick it up and see it and pen it. We're very lucky with social media that this stuff works the way that it does. Like, put it this way, there's one that I drew, or two that I drew a while ago, and it was Mary Jane wearing Spidey's clothes. It's on my DeviantArt page. And then drew one of Supergirl. And it's just kind of standing there, really kind of basic static shots like this one is. But what happened is somebody picked it up and colored it and did some amazing colors to the work and then shared it back with me and said, hey, here's this colored version. Um, and you can go to my Deviant. You can see his Deviant post, so you can check out his work. Beautiful colors. But my point is this: that one of those, the Mary Jane one, was back in like 2017. So I kind of even forgot about it. Forgot that I drew it. I never even inked it. But he took it and ran with it and colorized it, and he how do you say, breathed new life in it? That doesn't sound right. He brought new life to the piece. Okay, so that's the beauty of art. These things are kind of timeless in a little bit of a way, and maybe not completely timeless, but pretty close. And so you just make more stuff, and you're branding your business. You're getting your name out there, and you just really can't beat that. If you're a hard uh, worker that's going to constantly think that ultimately you will just, there's really no result other than success that you'll find because you just, you're paving the way for your success, basically. But you got to make lots and lots of um, artwork. And then, hopefully people. I never liked that answer when they were talking about getting into Marvel and DC, though. So I got to admit, that really ticked me off when I heard that then. They were like, yeah, to get into Marvel and DC, you just draw a bunch of stuff and we'll find you. And I was like, no, that's not the answer I want to hear. I want to like go up on a door and knock on the door and like I want to break into the industry, like talk to the. They're like, no, we don't take submissions like that anymore. You just draw stuff and post it on the internet. So I gotta admit, I was disheartened to hear that back in the day. Um, but I must say that by doing different job opportunities, here. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Any plans to continue? How many issues to complete the story arc? So I'm almost done with book two, and it's really messed up because I've been almost. It's really because I'm trying to figure out the direction I wanted to take the character. I had a very solid idea of what I wanted to see with the character, and then as I started to develop the books, I got a little bit confused by how I wanted to see this work out. So I've been like really just making myself draw a panel here and there, and it's almost done. I'm already like laying in letters to the book and stuff like that. And then also the other thing that messes with me on that production, which is really kind of sad, but it's the truth, is that I make, you know, my living off creating art and sharing art and like creating online courses and Gumroad. What happens is it's easy for me to deviate and say, well, I got a family, I gotta provide, I gotta do things that are putting bread on the table, and then I push my book right to the back burner. Sad, it should not be like that, uh, but it is what it is. Again, it's something that does happen because it's easier for me to justify working on my next course, my next Skillshare class, creating some custom brushes, even drawing fan art, because the fan art, I share it, it gets shared, it creates awareness for my art, and then again, hopefully for some of those other products. But it's messed up because I'm doing all this so that I can get my comic off the ground, hopefully, and hopefully people like the idea. And I gotta admit too, I think that it did sidetrack me a bit that when I released book one, it didn't do real well. I don't have a means of distribution. I'm hoping that when I do an Indiegogo that it will help distribute the books better. I basically just sell a digital version on my Gumroad, and then the shows got shut down. I was selling some copies at the shows, but not a lot, not as much as I hoped for. So there is that. But yeah, I need to just do it for the sake of doing what I say. The overall story arc is at the very least, 5 books. And then I'm hoping that it does better than that and it goes a lot further than 5 books. But I don't care, even if it's met with extreme disgust. I'm doing at least 5 books. For those of you that have been truly supportive. Jay Burger Slice says, how do you incorporate perspective into your drawings? I learned perspective not too long ago, but I'm still struggling to know how to properly implement it into my drawings without getting too technical. Let's go for 1, 2, and 3 point, and 1 point is what you're going to use the most, okay? And with digital, it's actually pretty easy to do a 1 point and then distort it. So I would say really just focus on your 1 point perspectives at first till you feel really comfortable. And I think what happens is you start to do it and you feel like, there's a certain thing I can't fit into my scene the way that I want, the way that I'm seeing in my mind's eye. It's usually because you're working off a 1 point perspective, but it needs to be a 2, and then so on and so forth. And you just keep elaborating, but really just focus on the 1 point. And then another thing I like to do is draw out the grid pattern. David Finch has a good video on this, by the way. And so you draw out the grid pattern and then you just draw freehand for a bit. And I like to go back and forth. So I find that when I draw freehand, I get better expressive looking buildings, cars, whatever it is. But then there's certain lines that I need to, and I use my snap feature, my perspective grids for that. Or the perspective feature that makes you snap to that line. And then I go back and forth. So I think that's really important, because if you stay in the perspective tool the entire time, the backgrounds come out really stiff, really lifeless. And you think that, you almost think that's what you would want, but it's, I don't know. For me, I think it's quite the opposite. Like, I want there to be, a little bit of life to those buildings. Like, for instance, when you do all the imperfections, you want lots of little cracks in the brick, broken up bricks, walls that are even a little crooked, things like that. So yeah, just play around with those concepts. All right, so is it interrupting? We're getting bad signal? No. How many people are having problems here? That sucks. Darn you, YouTube. I do gotta upgrade my Comcast over here. That might be part of it. I'm lighting these lines, they're too bold. What sketchbook do you use? I know it's 400 series paper. I bought one from Amazon, or no, I'm sorry, take that back. I bought it from one of the art stores, probably, what is it? Hobby Lobby. Went in there, bought an art pad. I mainly got it because, what do? I open up the book, I feel the paper, like, oh, this feels like good paper. I'll get this one. It's like I don't even read it, but it had like a thicker weight paper stock, and then it had a nice cover to it, and I got that one. And I don't know what it is, because I've gotten other papers that say 400 series that have the identical pound and writing, but this paper is so much nicer, and I don't have the cover to the book, so I'm sorry. All I can tell you is I did get it from Hobby Lobby, but yeah, it's that particular one that I was lucky enough to grab. I need to go back and see if I can find more. If and when I do, I'll share that in some of my posts, because people ask that a lot. All I usually say is 400 series sketchpad paper, but I definitely have one uh, sketchpad that's way better than the rest. Love drawing on that thing. It's funny too because I know the paper is so much better and it's a nicer hardbound book. I put my better illustrations. So I literally have tiers of sketch pads. Like I have some cheaper ones and I draw just horribly in them. I draw whatever. It's like I really express just about anything in those, which I think sometimes you got to do. Sometimes you just got to draw stuff that you're not trying to make it the best. You're just kind of pushing out ideas. Lots of little gestures and thumbnails and rough sketches and stuff like that. And then other times you go to like the nicer paper. For me, the nicest is when I go to Bristol board, and then I try to do my very best work on that. But yeah, it's a different approach to knowing that you have nicer paper. And plus the lines just come out better on the better paper, so that kind of gives you a little bit of confidence as well. Anybody else here get a little bit of anxiety though when you're drawing on Bristol board because you know it's just so darn expensive? Yeah, that's me. Okay, Anthony, you've had problems with Comcast too. Yeah, it's like, I'm so tired of that thing where it's like, hey, you've had them for a while, your bill starts to increase, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, because you need to update your plan and get the better, faster, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, to get that better, faster price, more of a contract, it's such a scam. Just, yeah, not a big fan of that stuff. I'm truly hoping that as Elon Musk is launching these satellites into space, like it forces these other people to be more competitive. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that Starlink, I think it's called, I'm hoping that's kind of has a recourse or a ripple effect in the way some of these companies treat us based on their services. It's so ridiculous. But anyways, I'll stop complaining. I'm sure you didn't come here for my rant about how we're getting taken advantage of as consumers. Nobody wants to hear that negativity. All right, let's drop in some shadows real quick. Oh, come on. Time. Right there. It was right there. How did I not see it? There we go. Thanks, Noah Musalik. Says this is cool. I appreciate that. Linda Schlumpf says paper is cheaper to start out. Digital takes a bit more to start because there's some costs connected with it. Yeah, very true. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that people think that digital is more expensive though. So like for instance, can't talk. I am on an iPad Pro here, and this is my second one. I just upgraded, but I had the other one, still runs fine. It's just the screen was becoming a bit uh, deteriorated. I pressed really hard on my screen, but it held up to that abuse for 5 years. And then the battery life was dying. So that's one of the things that does happen on these types of devices. The battery life will start to kind of deteriorate. It's just the way, I don't know, every battery and every device seems to work over time. So there is that. But I got 5 years solid out of it. It just got annoying to have to start charging it more uh, throughout the day. And I mean, if I was to add up what I would have spent in paper and markers, I'm sorry, I would have to say that I saved money by using that iPad Pro. Also, it generates videos for me, which is great for what I do. Now, that doesn't mean, it's overall better because I don't have original artwork. So there is that, so you got to weigh all those things together, I guess, and see what's best for you. For me, I think it was a good call, but there's downsides to everything. Nothing's all pros with no cons, right? There's always pros and cons to every single thing we do. But yeah, I'm on to the next one, and it's been great as far as one thing that I like the most about the new one that I got here that I'm drawing on now is that they actually made it where the Apple Pencil connects to the top via like a magnet and charges automatically. So I can't tell you how many times, even with live streams, I would go to start drawing with the guys and I forgot to charge my pencil, and I don't have to worry about that now. It's part of, and the new case that I put on this actually does that as well. It holds it. So every time I put it in the holder, it's charging. Really, really good call. Like that was something I'm surprised I didn't kind of think of with the first few iterations, but it's there now and it's a lifesaver. Yeah, Ed Pants, like that name by the way. Yeah, so yeah, it is going to boost your upfront costs, correct? You know. And realistically, like even with traditional art, I mean if you start doing enough of it and sharing content online, I mean they will send you free art products. Um, Digital, it's a little bit trickier. Like I've had this channel for a long time. I just now got to the point where some of the bigger digital tablet suppliers have been approaching me. Um, I just had an opportunity with XP Pen to demo one of their new tablets, like a 22-inch. They sent it to me. It didn't work. I had to send it back, and I just decided not to do the video because I thought that was kind of messed up. But whatever, they tried, and I'm still waiting for them to reimburse me on my shipping. Actually, now that I think about it. But anyways, so I didn't end up doing that review, but I got approached by a lot of the cheaper manufacturers, and the really that was a screen tablet. A lot of them wanted me to do the regular tablets, and I just always promoted Wacom, Wacom, whatever. But I've never gotten an offer. I actually tried to contact them, never gotten an offer through Wacom, so I stopped really promoting their products because it's like, you know, you guys don't want to throw me a bone. I'm not gonna promote your stuff, whatever. But but iPads, I doubt I would ever get an offer through Apple. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna promote them because it is a great device. It hits the nail on the head in so many levels that even though I'm not getting a kickback and I probably never will, I don't care. It is a really exceptional device. It sucks that the price point is so high. That's where a lot of times I will tell people to go with like a Wacom Intuos, or I think they're called Pros now, or Bamboos. I don't know. I haven't bought one in a while. But they're the regular tablets that you set on your table and you look up at the screen. Those are still amazing, amazing devices. They're bulletproof. I have one from years ago, like 6, 7 years, still works just fine. So you can't really knock that. That's a good deal. But a lot of artists don't like that because they have to get used to looking up at the screen and drawing down on that tablet. Yeah, I mean, You look anywhere online, you'll see a lot of people complain about that. But you also see a lot of people that are like, no, give it enough time and you will make some amazing art with this device. You just have to, put in the time. It's like that with any tool. It's like when I first tried to use a brush. I couldn't use a brush to save my life to ink my work. But then after I started to get a flow for it, I mean, it didn't take that long. It took probably a few months or something. But once I started to feel good with it, I was like, I had a hard time going back. But I did end up going with brush pens because I'm lazy like that. I do need to go back to actual brushes because they are better. Oh, did it again. Okay, starting to get there. Oh, let me read some of these comments real quick. Sorry. Let's see. How did you start your drawing career? I started drawing comics and pinning them up at comic book stores when I was a kid, 15, 16. I kept doing that for a while. I finally got an offer from a publisher that was going into that comic shop and let me draw a couple books called Air on Assault. And that's really what got me into comics. Well, I mean, not actually got me into comics. Like getting me into comics was just reading them, picking them up, drawing from them. But that's what got me my first job in comics. I think I did a commission or two before then, but that was about it. Do you have the Ultimate Spider-Man run by Mark Bagley? Josh Draws ass. No, I don't, but I need to. Amazing, amazing artist. Yeah, whenever I go to pick up Spidey books, I'm a big fan of like McFarlane stuff. Obviously, I'm still trying to get all the back issues of his stuff, but I had a lot of them, and then something happened. I can't remember what, if I sold them or what. But then I'm trying to recollect those. But that's another good run that I should really look at. Thank you. Anthony Gee, I got a Huion for Christmas. Really nice product, but it definitely lacks the transportation friendly aspect of the iPad. Exactly, and that's really why I ultimately settled on the iPad Pro, is because I wanted something that gave me the portability, and I realized that it did a few things really well. Like you can ink on it really well, you can color on it really well. Um, Drawing, I don't think anything beats pencil on paper to this point. Not really. Um, so there's that. But I mean, it's not too hard to draw your sketch on paper. Take a photo of it. This new one I got has an amazing camera on it. So I use it almost like a scanner when I want to do that. Um, but for me, it seems to be better just to draw most of it in this because I can share that process a lot easier. Um, but yeah, you can just snap a photo of it with your camera and get the best of those various parts of your work. I do like how inking is faster on this, for me anyways. I'm not a very fast inker. Does that look right? Maybe. Okay, so let's get the eyes in there. I'll ink the half of his mouth. It's like, man, I must have ADD or something. I like just bounce around throughout the illustration. Probably drives you guys nuts, doesn't it? Probably I got that dislike on the video. How many dislikes we got, people? I can't see it on the screen I'm on. What are we up to? 2, 3 dislikes? What do we got? All right. Yeah, so Ed Pants says, just can't get over that name. Ed Pants. I'm using Paperlike, which gives a texture to the screen. I had to take it off of mine. I really didn't like it. No way. You guys serious? 5 dislikes? Alright, that's it. I'm gonna find these people. Yeah, bunch of 5s. Alright, I got it, people. Oh, that's just mean. This is really mean. You guys ever see Jay and Silent Bob where, they like go after the person it wasn't a dislike. What was it? Somebody was bashing them on a forum. They were like, "Ooh, we're gonna find these little." It's so good, good stuff. I love Jay and Silent Bob. Kevin Smith, you are the man. What was it? Kevin Smith and Jay Muse. Anyways, they're just epic. Yeah, we're gonna hunt them down. It was hilarious. Like that movie, that and Chasing Amy, because all the little parts they put in about the comic culture, I just thought was so hilarious. Like when they talked about the anchor being a tracer. Good stuff. Okay, all right. So there's a good part of it. Probably add some rendering now. Probably need some heavier line weight on this side. Yeah, I'm using Procreate. Interaction is interaction. Thanks, monstrous X. Interaction is interaction. You got it. Yeah, what is it? Like bad publicity, still good publicity, or something like that. Who cares? I like to complain. It's kind of like what I do. I think it's what happens when you get older. You guys got to remember, I'm 45 now. I'm no spring chicken. So, if you continue watching this channel, I'm assuming that I'm gonna probably start getting more and more bitter over the. Hopefully not, but I'll probably do a little more complaining because that's what you do, right? You get older, you start paying attention to things a little more. You start to scrutinize just a little more. You put on those glasses that got the little bifocal so you can see things a little closer, and then you start to nitpick everything. God, is that my future? I hope not. I'm mad that I actually need glasses. I never needed glasses, and now I wear glasses to draw. Like another thing, why I go back to the iPad, it's probably this self-sustaining problem, really, because or this repetitive problem. I go back to the iPad or even my Cintiq or whatever because I can zoom in a lot more, right? So I can zoom in, I can see the detail crisply. I don't need to reach for my glasses as much, which is probably a problem, right? I probably shouldn't. The devices might not be that good for my eyes, and the fact that I'm not using glasses might cause a problem. I don't know, but the thing is that when I draw traditionally, I notice a real big difference. Like I gotta have my glasses because I can't zoom into the work, or well, I can use my magnifying glass in my art table, but you know what I mean. So it's like it's very noticeable when I go to traditional art. To the point where I actually have 2 pairs of glasses. So I guess I need bifocals. I have the readers, and I got these readers that like really zoom stuff in. Probably not good for my eyes, but that's I want to get in there and be able to detail these pages, and yeah, so that's what I do. I've got my regular glasses, and I got these ones that give me the big eyeballs. Yeah, thanks, Deadpool from Agency X. Glad to have you here. I really appreciate the fact that you can make it. Um, and I will be making more books and more storytelling. That's you'll see. Like as I share more of this content, I'm gonna be doing. I've already been prepping video lessons and YouTube stuff where I can draw more scenes. I really want to do the Wally Woods 20 panels at work. I can't remember how you say that exactly. think it'd be a good exercise for all of us. A lot of that stuff is like required study, required illustration tutorials, you know. I'll be doing a lot more of that. I want to do panels from different books that I pick up and I say, wow, this panel really works. Let me draw it on the channel. We can draw it together, stuff like that. So yeah, I will be doing more page work and I will be doing more books. You can bet on it. Comics Legend, what if you work on your comic, document your process, and sell a how to create a comic from idea to print? That way you finish your comic at the same time while creating a course to sell. You know, you hit the nail on the head, dude, and that's such a smart way to think, you know, to utilize your time to the best of your efforts, you know, repurpose your own content. It is a very good way to look at it. And you're right. And I've thought of that and I should be doing that. I got to implement it. It's like you're sharing the idea, it's having that great idea, but then, you know, acting on it. And you're right. There's no better way to really utilize your time than to take something that's yours and you can, you know, make it into different products so that you're, you know, killing more than one bird with one stone or whatever. Yeah, so thanks for that, Comics Legend. Good point. Alternative for Photoshop, I would say Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint's really closely, uh, you know, it's really close to Photoshop in a lot of ways, even in shortcut commands, but definitely in functionality and ability. It doesn't have quite the image editing capability that Photoshop has, but if you're talking about for comics, and if you're here, I imagine you are, it can do everything that Photoshop can do for comics better. Like it's better suited for comics. So I would say to start there, and it's very, very affordable. You can find it on sale a couple times a year for like peanuts compared to what that is really worth. Okay, and it's not the app version on the devices, the iPads, and that's a monthly subscription, which is unfortunate. But as far as I know, the desktop version is still a purchase. So I recommend to anybody they run out and purchase that before they try swapping that to a monthly subscription because it's just really worth the investment. Oh shoot, this character has tons of arm hair, doesn't he? It's like Wolverine in that regard. Okay, so now let's get some rendering in there, and I'll just add a new layer for that. Well, from Agency X, very nice of you to make nice comments like that. I appreciate all you guys supporting the channel, and you know, back and fortunate that I was able to find an audience that likes this stuff, and you guys do a lot to support me. So thank you for that. I'm truly honored. Icon, do you still use Clip Studio? I do at times. Clip Studio is fantastic for coloring. Let me know if this is lagging because it looks like it's lagging on my side. Hopefully it's not for you guys. The I'll be honest, I really like coloring. I find the fastest to be when I use Procreate, just because I spend a lot of time on the iPad here. You know, I'm just used to those tools, but it has some really good shortcuts for coloring. It's really, really streamlined. Video is still, if you're going to do a full book, nothing is going to beat Clip Studio Paint. Just not going to. All the tools for a full book complete creation process that you just can't beat it. Yeah, Alexis saying, you know, make some more tutorials for Clip Studio. I will. I've been using it more actually. I just decided to use this today because it's kind of nice where I can sit here with the iPad and look up at the screen. Where when I use my Cintiq, it's a bigger screen. I'm kind of looking over more. So I wanted to try this this layout. But yeah, you're right. I will make some new updated tutorials on Clip Studio. Kind of surprised they haven't really did any major overhauls on that software, which I'm actually a fan of. I think it's a bit silly when they're we're getting a lot of lag, aren't we? Yeah, I'm seeing a drop off. That sucks. All right. Huh. All right, I don't know what to do there. I probably should jump out. Let's see if it kicks back on. Sorry about this, folks. Yeah, it dropped right off. Goodness. Right as we got to the rendering. Do me a favor. Tell me if it starts coming back. Let me look at the stream health here. Maybe I should be on that tab. Yeah, it's saying excellent. Are we good? It's getting a little better. Okay. Seems better now. All right, we'll see how it goes here. Yeah, it's unfortunate it does that. And, it's kind of hard because I'm not that fast at this stuff. So, and I don't want to start speeding up where I do poor quality, which is like pretty much what happens every time because I'm trying to rush and I'm worried that the stream's not going to keep going. And yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. Forgive me and try to concentrate here, figure out where all this little rendering should go. Mm-hmm. Do you have a comic book project you're working on? Just saw my Blackstone comic, and I just got to do a page on a Dracula book, so I'm waiting to hear back if I'm going to be doing more on that or what. But I'll keep you guys posted. I couldn't turn it down. I've turned down a lot of comic projects, and I know it's going to sound horrible, but it's because I do so much with the channel here and online teaching that I have to be careful that I don't take on the wrong projects. But when somebody came up and said, I don't know if I'm supposed to say who or whatever, or share the project information, so I won't do that yet. But they're like, hey, you want to work on some Dracula uh, storytelling? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I would love to work on that. It's just certain ones you can't turn down, and that's one for me. Um, but yeah, and also my Blackstone book. That's book 2 needs to hurry up and be done now. So yeah, Blackstone is really just a story where the character is starts off as like a nomad through space, kind of villainous, almost like a Lobo type character, where he's just a jerk and he does what he wants when he wants. Uh, he's vile, does whatever he floats his boat, and then he comes in contact with a kind of a another life form that he can't communicate with, but it attacks him. He fights back. He's actually trying to attack something else, and this thing intervenes and attaches to him, starts forcing him. Not so much at first, it doesn't force him to be a hero. It won't allow him to do wrong. Okay, so it's like picture a physical manifestation of your conscience, right? So this thing's on his back. It won't get off. It's he realizes that by trying to remove it, it'll kill him, and he's now got to deal with this thing. And it's also has the ability to take control of him here and there, and not allow him to hurt anyone like he normally would have done, just almost in a reactionary state. So he's trying to figure out a way to get this thing off him. He can't fight back the way that he used to fight back, and mess people up. But he's got these people that are after him because he's been such a vile creature throughout his travels. So yeah, that's the start. So yeah, it's a symbiote, but it's a symbiote that doesn't at first communicate with him, and it forces him to indirectly be a hero. So it doesn't force him to be a hero, but it starts to encourage the process, and so he's an unlikely hero basically. I just wanted to tell a story of something that I think is a little bit more resemblant of what we all face. It's not like we all run out there and we're super heroic every day. I mean, maybe some of you are, maybe we should be, but we do have a natural inclination, most of us, to do more good than bad. But he didn't. So you find out more in the book of why he's like that and why he doesn't have that inclination to, you know, treat others fairly and stuff like that. But this thing kind of balances that out, becomes his balance. And yeah, so that's kind of the starting point. And I don't really know what the long term. I mean, I have this one part of the story where the long term aspect is he comes back into um, connection with his his lineage or whatever, how he was created and what he was created for. That starts to come about, and then that introduces all these ideas of whether or not he wants to be this this savior that he was supposed to be for his the race that created him. But yeah, that's all explained in the book, and I really gotta flesh that story out more. And yeah, that's why I need to figure out where I'm gonna take this and keep making books. I think we'll shadow the bottom of the bicep here. I'm trying to just read the bottom ones just so you know, um, but yeah, I don't want to miss a lot of these. Sorry. Why is the symbiote not violent? Why? It's just a different take, it could have been he was a good guy and the symbiote attacked and made him violent. I wanted to turn it around a little bit, um, but the thing is that he's not evil for the sake of being evil, and that's what you find out as the book goes. It's almost like, what if you were thrown into existence and you didn't know good from evil? You might It might be a 50-50 shot for you at that point, right? I mean, lots of shades of gray, obviously, but that's really what the start is for this character. That he's not really evil for the sake of being evil. It's just, if you were to look at existence without a bunch of preconceived notions, you might assume evil was the right way to go. It's pretty evident in nature, right? Or maybe it doesn't seem evil because you know enough about what has to happen in the circle of life. But if you were just thrown into it without any preconceived ideas, I mean, you might just assume that that's just the way you're going to go, the life of the predator, whatever. Um, but I mean, if you're somebody that watches like the nature show or Discovery or something, I mean, some of that stuff looks pretty vicious. Like there's some of those things I watch and I'm like, ouch, like that's that seems evil to me, but that's nature, it's just the way it goes. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of the start of the character where he's not evil just because he wants to be evil. He just doesn't see it like that, because he hasn't been raised to know, the difference really. Then this creature gets on his back, starts forcing him to see things a different way, and then, he evolves from that process. Did you ever try out animation? Yeah, I did a 3D animation for television for a few years for a local ad agency. I used Lightwave and just like little logo fly-ins. I did a car one time that came out, had a little face on it, did like a little beep and turned around. They were just little cheesy local car company commercials. But uh, but yeah, it actually went pretty well. I even had to get up on stage and accept some awards for animation, which I thought was hilarious because I had literally just picked up some books from Borders. God, is there even a Borders anymore? And I just read the books, did studies. I self-studied, went in there, started using the software, developed the animations, and yeah, it was a bit of a success. I'm a self-starter. Like it's always been that way. Never went to any real great schools or nothing like that. I just whenever I wanted to learn something, I went and got some books. Now it's all about grabbing some videos and then learn it and do it. Learn by doing, basically. But it'd be a lot harder today because, well, in some ways, the animations that I was doing back then were pretty basic, but not a lot of people were doing them, so they stood out. Now you see 3D animation, really good 3D animation everywhere. So it's more competitive in that regard. But then again, uh, a lot of those effects that I was doing were way harder back in the day. You had to make a lot more things in Lightwave function. Like now you jump into Blender and you want water, and I think it's just a particle emitter, and you click it and it makes water, right? It's pretty darn simple. Like where before you had to do it with these other things to make it function. So there's it's harder and it's not. There's parts of it that are harder because the competition is more stiff, and there's parts that are easier because the technology and the softwares have come so far. And yeah, things that were more difficult have now become a click of a button. Like there's a mocap. What's it called? It's a mocap software online for through Adobe, and you can take your 3D characters and just upload them, and all of a sudden your characters start dancing with the mocap. It's so super cool. And back in the day, mocap was really hard. Like you had to do a lot of things if you wanted to do mocap, motion capture. But now it's like, there's online sites that will allow you to freely download motion captures. It's just crazy how far some of this stuff has come. Oh, thanks, Mario. Mario, I appreciate that. Jim Lee's a freaking amazing artist. So to even be the fact that you even think it looks like something he would do is awesome. Yeah, he's on a whole nother level, obviously. But I like the comparison. Good and evil are a preconceived notion. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. I think that's what I was saying. Well, I think it is, you know, programmed a little bit, I guess, but I don't know. I think good and evil are very evident in everything. Like I just feel that way. That I think that you know what's good, you know what's evil. Uh, I don't think it's all because you're just programmed to believe a series of concepts. I just think that it would be easier to make the confusion if you were just dropped into the middle of it, like out of nowhere. That's kind of my thought. But I feel like good and evil is present all around us. I mean, you see somebody do something heinously evil, it's like yeah, that's evil. There's no doubt, and that's why I think superheroes are such a powerful idea. You know, it's like look how many bad things go down, and you just almost wish like God, just if there was only a superhero to take care of this, that would be pretty sweet. Um, but that's when you got to realize like no, it's up to us to step up and become the superheroes. I'm not talking capes and spandex, obviously, but um, you know, just do our part, collectively become heroes. Thanks, SCS Powerlifting. That's nice of you, man. You didn't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch Finch tonight for sure. It's always tough for me on a Monday because my girl gets out of work later, but I'm hanging out with my son. But I'm gonna definitely do my best because even if I just got to put it on and watch him do his amazing thing with no audio, so I'm hanging out with my kid. But she might be back by then, and then I'll definitely catch it. Yeah, you got to support Mr. Finch, man. He's doing just some fantabulous work. And every time I watch his videos, I learn. I mean, it's that cool of a process. Like we're so fortunate to have YouTube. Like I hate to sound all cheesy about it, but it's so true. Like when you got people like him doing what he's doing, and then people like Jim Lee and I wish McFarlane would do a channel, but regardless, there's enough amazing artists just doing their thing on YouTube these days that it's like, man, we are super fortunate. You know, it's pretty cool because they could easily say, yeah, it's not worth my time. I should be doing more of this, more of that. A lot of it is given back. Like I mean, I would assume that it's a two-way street. You're giving back and you're getting things in return. YouTube is paying ad revenue. You are getting donations and a following. It's a two-way street. But um, I think educational wise, it's just pretty hard to beat. Like back in the day, we had to buy these videos from places like what was it, Gnome Workshop. I think they still got some going. And some of these high paid courses, or even more so, like you can't get to a school that you would really love to attend. Like I always wanted to attend the Kubert School, but I just couldn't afford it and couldn't justify it. Um, but now with everything online, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to learn from these astounding artists. So, oh, there's no stream. Yeah, like Kenneth just said, yep, I wish these resources were around the 90s. Exactly. Like, the ones that I always look back at were those Stan Lee ones with, who was on there? Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, McFarlane, Walsh Portasio. Um, yeah, all them great, a bunch of great artists were on those. And those were gold mines. Those I still watch those when I can. They're just amazing. And we were lucky to have those. But now you can like pick really from a plethora of artists and you can really just get a lot of good information from them. Um, yeah, see, Art Replicant just said McFarlane has a nice collection of drawing videos on his YouTube channel. I don't know if he still makes new content though. Yeah, see, McFarlane, I go to Facebook to watch his content. Um, I didn't know that he had a bunch of content here on YouTube. I'll check that out ASAP. Cause I'm not a big Facebook book fan. I don't like Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sorry. Like, you ever see that movie? That dude's shady, man. Like, I probably shouldn't say it, but anyways, I'm just saying, like Facebook and their practices of privacy collection of your data. I'm not a big fan of that. Like, I'd be a lot bigger fan if I could just pay them monthly to use a software like Facebook, pay them and be done. They don't touch my data. Total anonymity, however you say that word. Like, I just think that that's such a crooked thing to do, but I don't know. I guess they all do it. They all say, hey, here's a free this. And when you're clicking that little agreement thing that says, yes, I would like it for free, you're giving away your data. Just creepy. It creeps me out. But again, it's because I'm old. And that's what old people do. They get freaked out by stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to pick up the phone if I don't recognize the number. Okay. Yeah, no, John Byrne tutorial would have been awesome. There's so many great artists that I would love to see. You'd see like takes on their life and what they did, but it was after the fact. Yeah, there'd be so many. Um, and that's what I love about video. These videos will just that we are seeing from these amazing people. Again, Finch, McFarlane, Jim Lee. They'll be around forever. Like I still got a lot of content to try to watch of Jim Lee's, and I definitely have a lot of content to watch of David Finch's. Like, I can't even keep up. He's been pumping out so much cool stuff. But the good thing is that we can. Yeah, I agree, Anthony. I agree. But we can go back and we can kind of cherry pick the things that we need to learn at the time. But it's all such good content that I want to like binge watch it. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. All right, so there's that section. Let me see here. I gotta get his arm hairs in. Yeah, I'm really slow at rendering, ain't I? Stream's been going forever. I should be done with this. Such an easy shot. I should be just using my brushes, but I go back and forth. It's like I want to use the rendering brushes I got because they're way, way quicker. But then I feel like I find a little bit, find better designs when I create my own rendering. All right, I just saw somebody says, Rich Ware says, how old are you? I prefer to say, how young am I? I am 45 years young. I'm old, dude. I'm an old guy. It sneaks up on you, I'll tell you that. Be careful. You're young now, some of you. And you're like, oh, 45, you're so old. That sucks. But then just so you know, tomorrow you're going to like wake up and you're going to be 50. It's faster than you think. But I'll tell you what, that's another thing I like about art because you can look back on your art projects, make sure you date them, and you can see like this transition in your work and your life through your art. I think that's pretty cool. It's like a journal, but of pictures. I think it's so strange too now that you could take your phone and you can just scroll through, thousands of photos or how, depends on how many photos you take, I guess. But you get this lineage of your life in a weird kind of way. I don't know. It's great. It's not weird. It's great, but it's just a different way to really look at things. To look back at things, and you can scroll through it so quickly. It's kind of crazy. But it's technology. Everybody's got a phone in their pocket now, so it's like you got these huge photo albums just walking around with you. It's pretty wild. Oh, Rich Ware said, "I'll be 50 at Robert Marzullo this year." I read it like I don't know why, but I read it. I was like, "I'll be filthy." I'm like, "What the?" All right, I'll be 50. Gotcha. Congrats. Yeah, I don't feel so bad. I mean, I shouldn't feel bad. I'm at that midlife crisis point in my life where I'm like, wow, I'm really kind of halfway there. It's just messing with me. It shouldn't. I'll get over it. It's just one of them things. But yeah, it's life just coming at you. It's really making me be a little bit more aware of trying to be in the moment, be in the now, be present, because I don't think that I ever really thought that way until more recently. But now it's like, especially as a father, like I gotta really do my best to be in the now, in the moment, and squeeze all the joy I can out of life because it's flying by. Is this getting depressing? All right, let's move on. Different topic. Yeah, so Kenneth Day, sometimes your old drawing has a memory associated with it, for sure. Like that nostalgia is so great. That's what I love about the old comics, the nostalgia. Like I've got all these comics, but the ones I keep an arm's length away are the ones that got me into drawn comics. And for that nostalgia, I can open them up and be transported back. It's almost just like how like you'll smell a certain smell or a certain food, and it'll take you right back, right? And it's just an amazing feeling. Our art can do that the same way. It can make us remember something we were going through or dealing with. Um, and then yeah, just other art that inspired us can have that same effect. So there's some real magic in there, I think. Anyways, okay, there's the shading on his fins. Wonder if I should render off the back of that. I need to hurry up and drop in some color though because I'm gonna have to bring it to a close here shortly and go pick up my son from school. So I can't be late for that, but um, it'd make him pretty mad. He's getting older now, so he like actually likes it. He makes sure to tell me like, "Hey, Dad, thanks for getting here early," versus late. Not that I'm ever late, but he's like, hey, he's nudging me like, get here earlier in line so I don't have to wait. What's crazy about school right now? It's the school he's in, everything going on, is we line up in these huge lines of cars to wait to pick up our kids. And they bring them out, not one by one, but almost about five at a time. It is just weird. Like I have never seen nothing like this. This is a crazy day and age, folks. Like it's just crazy. But it is what it is. I mean, they're doing it for the safety of everybody, and it looks like we're getting more to the end of needing to worry about that, I would hope. But yeah, it definitely becomes very obvious when I go to pick up my child and we have to sit in our vehicles and wait in line. It's freezing out here in Michigan, so it's not that bad. I feel bad for the teachers that have to sit out there and do that. But the poor kids, like they're just like, what is going on? This is this is our life. This is normal. I feel like he needs some shadow in here. I always got to be careful too with the characters, giving them too big of eyelids, certain expressions, because it makes them look tired, makes them look sleepy. Like, oh, poor Savage Dragon, he didn't get enough sleep last night. you gonna fight crime when you aren't getting your Z's? All right, let me see if I drop some color in here, if it'll look okay. Usually that kind of exposes a little bit of the artwork. And I don't know why I brought the arm down lower than the midsection. That was kind of silly. Need to add some in there. Or better yet, I'll just crop it up. Pro tip for you. If you draw one part lower than the other, crop up and save yourself time. I don't know if that's a pro tip, but we'll pretend it is. The lag is back. No way. You know, I really want some transparency here on the stream too, because it's saying over here excellent for the the stream connection, and then I look over at the comments, and it's like the lag is back. Like, really, you gonna lie to me, YouTube? Thought we were homies. Been with you guys for like 8 years or decade, I don't know. Dun dun dun. Nice. Nice Josh draws. I love the dun dun dun. I do that with my son all the time right now. We're in that stage where we're doing like lots of sound effects, chasing each other around the house, you know, shooting imaginary laser guns and whatever, sometimes Nerf guns, but there's a lot of sound effects. It's so funny. It's like, you know how like that's a lot of people would say, you know, it's a stage you go through where you know, as a kid you're making sound effects, so you're doing all this stuff. It was never a stage for me. It was like just like that's life. That's what you do. I always made sound effects. I still make sound effects. All right, I took the slow way to color this. I should have just drew around the perimeter, drag and dropped it, or you use the. This is going to look so silly now, but you can. I should have combined these and then turned this to a reference layer, and then drag and drop. Yeah. I so do not work in an efficient way. Oh, but don't stay on that layer. Whoops. Should still work though. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if it'll work here. Let's try it. No, did not work. There. Did it. All right, complementary color for the background of Savage Dragon. Thinking like a blue maybe. Give him a white wife beater t-shirt, tank top. The blue background. What do you guys think? What brush do you use for inking? This one, Ram Tech Pen A1. I use a couple, but that's my primary one. You can actually find that on my Gumroad as a free download, and I've got some Procreate brushes on there that you might like, might not. I don't know, but they're free. Just type 0 during checkout, and let me know what you think. Purple or oranges, huh? All right, well, I'll make that background a little more of a purple. Good call. That's why I don't teach a whole lot in color, because I'm not very knowledgeable on color. I just like to do it. But, yeah, I'm not like, I don't know all the rules to coloring. I try to study them, but I'm more of a black and white kind of guy. Pen and ink. But you just can't beat how much it brings to the table when you see a good finished illustration, right? come on, that was filled in. You know what? Sometimes you gotta drop it there and then pull the slider back. No? Missing something here? Okay. It's weird. Okay. No, I haven't been using the RAM angle 200. Let me see. It's RAM Tech Pen A1. But I bounce back and forth. Like for a while there, I was using the Comic Inker. And then also, I've got one where I just took the brush tip. I think it comes preloaded, or one version comes preloaded, where the brush tip is just a kind of a rectangle. And it gives you these really nice calligraphy type lines. And sometimes I like to ink with that, but almost always I generally will mix them up a bit. I didn't hear because I was trying to focus on getting done a little sooner, but generally when I'm trying to get the best quality of work, I like to mix up a couple brushes just so that it looks a little more interesting. Alright, what else? Trying to see where's that white coming from? It's like the blue just didn't fill in on that layer. Okay, so let's take this one and let's shadow it. Airbrushing, shadow brush. Oh no, I forgot about the arm hair. Can't do a savage. I'm not doing masks. I lock transparency on this layer so that when I use this shadow brush, which is set to multiply, where's it at? See, it's at multiply. It's just an airbrush set to multiply, so I can take whatever color and it will darken the color. How do you say it? Uniformly. So if I keep adding shadows, it'll darken the shadows and the highlights. That's what multiply does. But then I'll go back and forth with like a screen mode or a lighten mode, and then I'll put in highlights, and I really just keep doing that. So for instance, I might take the selection under the eye here, draw that in. While I'm at it, I can get this side, and maybe like under the nose, which really that probably should have been a shadow, but I'll just do it like this. And so what I can do now is with that selection in place, I just hit those areas just a little bit. That's probably a little too dark. Let's try that. So that's how I shadow, and I do the same thing with highlights. So like for instance, with the fin on his head, I would think that would shadow something like this, maybe. Let me see. Remove. Okay, and then make it a bigger brush. Like that. Oh no. Alright. That backfired. I should have did my selection better. Let me try that again. See, now that is really weird. I lost my shadowing under the eyes and nose. I went back too far, but it seems like it would have just let me go forward and get it back, but it didn't. So whatever. Put that back in. Redo the selection by the fen. Okay. All right, I'm thinking like, let's see here. Another thing is too with this, you really could be doing this on a floating layer, which I would recommend. It's not that big of a deal because it's just one shadow across the green, but you might get little areas you got to fix, and yeah, floating layers are generally a little bit easier, but it's not that big of a deal. So all right, let's continue with this. I'll do a bigger shadow right through here. All right, Luke Linjic, can't say it, sorry. The whole thing about comic artists making an average $100 a page at Marvel or DC, how accurate is that? I don't work for them, but I think that's not accurate. I mean, I would put it this way, like, I'm not saying nobody there makes that. You know, like maybe they get people on there for their starting pay and looking for exposure. Maybe they need, like an intern, they need experience, you know, things like that. But I think that people focus too much upon the page rate and they think that like that's the end all. And that's not really the way I would look at it personally. I mean, and again, take it with a grain of salt because I haven't worked for those companies. But what I'm getting at is I have worked as a professional artist for most of my life now. And what usually happens is there's a lot of things that are not always factored into exactly what you're making at a day rate or page rate. Um, you know, there's other things to kind of account for. Like, for instance, I would work for Marvel and DC, and I would take a lower page rate personally. Not that low, but I would. The reason being is that I would get exposure from that. It does benefit me as somebody that has content online. I have other books. I have my Learn to Draw Action Heroes book, which I don't know. I don't really like the fact that the way that's working out, but whatever. I've got other books and properties out there that I get a kickback from when they sell, right? So working for a bigger company like that would benefit me more greatly than somebody who doesn't have those things in place, right? So for instance, if you don't have those things in place, you're very heavily looking at that page rate. And if you're not able to work for that little of an amount on that particular, you know, in that particular time, then you might not be able to get to the higher page rates because you're like, look, I can't work for 100 a page and it takes me, maybe it takes you 2 days to do a page. It takes somebody else half a day, whatever. So, you know, I mean, there's different factors to where that's not going to be even an idea that you could entertain. But for somebody else, they might go, hey, I'm looking down the road. I'm not looking at that 100 a page or whatever. Again, I don't think it's that low. Maybe it is. But I'm not looking at that aspect of it. I'm looking at how it's going to get me to where I want to be, and that might be, um, working on a different title, more popular title that's going to pay more, or the exposure that's going to lend to you selling your own book or whatever. There's lots of things to consider. Well, if shows were still going, you would also be looking at commissions. Like if I can tell people, hey, I was the artist for Wolverine, for instance, then it's going to allow me to sell more commissions, especially of Wolverine. And then if I do covers for that book, well, those covers are going to sell for a lot more. So there's all these other things to weigh in on. But I get it. They shouldn't be shortchanging artists, the people that bring such imagination and creativity to these books. They should not be paying people 100 a page. If that's true, that's unfortunate. But I would find it hard to believe it would be that low. I mean, I work on independent titles and I don't work for 100 a page, so. I mean, I'm not even a big name guy, and I've sold covers for, $500 or whatever. So, it's it's doable. You're not going to get it all the time, probably. Um, and as your name gets bigger, you're gonna be turning away work. That's something else to think about. I've talked to artists that they have to turn stuff away. That their name's gotten that big that simply upping the price it works to an extent. Obviously, you go too far, people are just going to quit using you. But they do that to an extent, and then it gets to a point where your time is so valuable that you have to just turn the work away. That's where you want to get. Oh, I hope not. So Anthony Gee's saying I did read some about that. So AT&T's they're looking to torpedo them. You think they're going to buy them and shut them down? God, that'd be horrible. In that case, I would prefer that Disney got them. I mean, at least then they would perpetuate the characters. And I don't. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't like either one of those options, but I definitely don't like the idea that they would buy them and just tank the business or tank the it just doesn't even seem possible or right. Yeah, thanks, my sketchbook 340. Good to be here. Um, Actually running out of time quickly, and I'm not done with this. Let's see. Let's get a few more shadows in here. Are you guys gonna be mad at me if we don't finish this? Oh no, this is why I don't work on a book title. I'm looking for ways out, but I have to. I got to pick up my son, and I can't make excuses for that one. This me boy. Me boy comes first. Love being a dad. It's awesome. Best thing I ever did with my life. And at times the hardest job ever. For me anyways. It's like there's definitely parts that are just easy and rewarding and fun. And then there's parts where you're like, wow, uh, being a dad is not easy. Like I saw this post and it said something like, now that I'm a dad and I'm in my 40s, I really understand why my father was so cranky. Now, I can't truly relate. I never met my dad or whatever. So, but I grew up with my friends and I watched their dads, and, and some of their dads could be a little bit ornery, and so as reading that post, it was so funny. Like, now I get it because I'm always, and it went on to say because I'm older, I'm always in pain and I'm aggravated all the time, short tempered. I don't think I experienced that as much. A little bit of the orneriness, but I'm not, and I'm really lucky. I have no fingers crossed. I have no pain. Like I feel, my heart goes out to you guys and gals that have to deal with chronic pain and stuff like that. And we're at, if you're at that age, like I'm saying, that's the age that it starts to hit. Sometimes younger, sometimes older, but I'm lucky. I don't deal with that right now. But again, fingers crossed. I know it's coming. It's not like I'll just it'll never happen. I'm miraculously never going to experience pain. No, it's coming. But yeah, chronic pain's a tough one. That's something that I really, feel for people that got to go through that. All right, so I think the highlights should, let's see. The other thing about doing this part of it, I know this looks really slow, but it really helps if you keep building these shapes. So like you start off and you do a couple of these shapes, right? You should really blend one side more heavily than the other, or like, one side of the shape. Like in this case, I'm going to make it darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. Do that with each shape to follow the light source. But you can really compound these little cell shading shapes, and it just almost gets cooler and cooler. I mean, probably to a point where it becomes distracting. But somebody I always look at that does that really well is Patrick Brown. Man, the way he like overlaps his colorized cell shading shapes is really cool. He goes super crazy with it, and it works. Something about it, like, so for instance, instead of this big shape on the side of the head, I can grab another shape, like say, it doesn't always work, but I'll try it. So like right there, just real nice and light too. I don't need it to be very dominant because it's actually kind of a strong effect, or it can be. So you just want to lightly glance that in and pull back and see it. But yeah, I think it works really well. So it's something I would recommend. And then you just keep picking apart these little shapes, like under the jaw here, lower lip. I think a lot of times it's subtlety is best. Because if you make something too pronounced in a certain area, especially the face, it can start to hurt it. And then I would add another layer. So that's all been shadows up until this point. And I would turn this into a clipping mask. And then I would use, well, you can really just turn the light source on right here. So set this to screen. Let me check my reference. I think it's just a yellow for his face, right? A lot of times. So let me just pick like a lighter green or yellowish green. Let's try this. Maybe a little brighter. Why is that not bright enough? Oh, maybe because I'm on the shadow brush. Let's go to normal. Okay, and then same thing, but just pick out the highlight. And this one you can go a bit darker, a bit heavier, because you can always erase back because we're on a floating layer. So I'd probably start there. Get in some of these highlight areas. But again, I can take a soft erase. Erase that back. Yeah, and I didn't even do the shirt. Goodness. Or this isn't done. So I'm gonna have to pull it short, folks. I gotta go pick up my son. I didn't think it'd take this long. So let me know what you want to do. We could always come back and finish this on another stream, or I can post it and you can just check out the finished rendition. It's really a repetitiveness of what I've done thus far. But I really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching today's stream. And yeah, thanks so much for being here. Do it on another stream. We got one for that. Okay. Yeah, because I do want to finish it. I like the way it's coming out. I didn't like it at first. I'll be honest, but I like it. It's it's a boring static shot, but for me that's a little bit easier because in these live streams I'm kind of juggling, walking and chewing some gum. So yeah, it's a little easier for me to do that at this point. But yeah, thanks so much again. I'm really appreciative of all the support on the channel. You guys have been awesome. It's been fun to talk to you, and kind of powwow about this various stuff. So more content is on the way very soon. Make sure to like, share the videos, and if you are one of the people that click dislike, I would ask that you rethink that and maybe click that like button for me, please. Pretty please. Nah, just kidding, guys. So anyways, take care. More on the way real soon. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.